Hello and welcome to this week's Modern Toy Fair Reviews. We're going to be taking a look at the WWE Elite Mattel Bray Wyatt the Fiend action figure. Alright, first up, we're going to take a look at some of the detailing here on the face. You're going to see he does have a lot of those wrinkles in the mask, including the nostrils and his teeth as well. Also with the scarring for like the black marks on it, you can see where it goes from the white of the mask to more of like a fleshy red and then into the black. If you go around the back of his head, you'll see one, he has his neck tattoo go all the way up, and two, the straps for his mask are molded all the way around his head and also are painted as well. This figure is the second production version, which does have the more blonde hair. A lot of people complained with the first version was the hair was way too brown, which is true. So they did a running change, and now they all have the blonde hair. Over on his left arm, we're take a look at some of his tattoos. Great detailing here, definitely look very much like what he has in real life, including that red strap across the bicep. They do wrap all the way around to the other side of his bicep as well. The right arm, which has a lot more tattoos, you can see it goes all the way from the shoulder joint down to his wrists on both the inside and the outside of his arm. Next up, we're going to take a look at the gloves. So these hands had to be special sculpted because this is the first time they've ever had the leather glove hands with the holes in the leather plus the holes cut out in the knuckles. That does have the red trim around the knuckles and the hurt and heel painted on each knuckle as well. Now let's take a look at the back of the figure. So you're going to see he does have his back tattoo. It is covered up quite a bit by his tights, but overall it's pretty nice. The pelvis is lacking a little bit of detail when it comes to the sculpting. The belt is painted on, and there's not a lot of there's a little bit of wrinkling, but nothing crazy. However, when you get down to the legs, and these legs were definitely sculpted just for the Fiend, they've got wrinkles all throughout the pant legs. Plus, you have those padding on his thighs that were special sculpted. Some people did complain the red on the pants was a little too dark, and I can definitely see that because his tights definitely pop a lot more on TV, but I kind of still like it. Down on the boots, if you look at the toe, there is the red stripe going across it, which it looks just like he has in real life. However, instead of having the covers over his boots, he does just have standard boots. All right, now let's take a look at some of the articulation. The head does turn both left and right. As far as up and down, there's not a whole lot. Let me see, you don't get a whole lot of up. You do get quite a bit of down. He can basically touch his chin to his collarbone. He does tilt his head a little bit to the right and the left to give him that kind of creepy-ish look. The hair is kind of more of a soft plastic or a rubber, so it doesn't get in the way. The arms do go up 90 degrees. The biceps do have the swivel as standard for the WWE Elite figures. Elbows are still single jointed. They go straight up to 90 degrees as well. Wrists go 90 degrees both forward and back and rotate all the way around. Next, let's take a look at his ab crunch. Now, this is where it gets a little bit disappointing. Forward, he does not get very much ab crunch, like just enough to kind of give him a hunched over look. But backwards, he can bend pretty far, so you can get that kind of almost like spider walk that Bray used to do going. As far as he does have the waist pivot, which most of the elite figures do have. His legs do almost go up to a full 90, but not quite. Uh, as far as if you put them back, though, they don't go back at all. And then he does have double jointed knees, not quite to the point where he can kick himself in the ass, but still pretty satisfying. He does have the thigh swivel. However, the stripes, because they're painted on, won't match if you move them too much. He does have the swivel at his boot. His boots, his ankles do go straight forward, and then a little bit more of the back bend, and then he does have a little bit of tilt, just enough to kind of help you pose him, but nothing too crazy, which makes sense because I don't think I've seen the Fiend really do any super dynamic things pose-wise. Now we're going to take a look at his accessories. So he does have alternate flat, almost like praying hands. Just like the fists, they do have the sculpted knuckle holes and sculpted leather holes. You've got one that says hurt and one that says heal, both on the correct left and right hands. They pop in and out real easy, just like most elites do, which is very nice. The more important accessory, though, is one that a lot of people are excited for, which is the severed Bray headlamp. Now, it's kind of a little more fleshy and not quite as dead looking, um, probably because it's a toy and they didn't want to scare children and upset parents. He does have a random hole in the bottom, which I assume is just to cut on costs, but a lot of people are sticking little lights up there to light up the lamp, which look pretty cool. I might do that later on. All right, lastly, let's take a look at the box. You'll notice this is the SummerSlam edition of the Elite figures. You've got those blues and oranges, the SummerSlam logo up in the top, along with the open window on the front. On the side, you do have what looks like just a standard photo shoot version of the Fiend. Gets you a lot of detail on that mask. On the back, you have the figures that the rest of the figures in the set. You've got some of Bray's like career highs, including his tag championship reign and his WWE championship reign, which don't really apply to the Fiend in my opinion. On the other side, you do have just an in-ring photo of the Fiend along with that blue and orange stripe going across the bottom. Okay, one last thing I wanted to touch on before we end this video. If you are wanting a soft goods jacket for your Bray Wyatt, just take the trench coat that comes with the Jack the Ripper Demon Finn Balor Elite figure. You can trim it up to get the coattails and everything, and it turns out pretty good for a basic jacket. Hopefully one day we'll get a legitimate one for the Fiend that isn't like that cheapy plastic rubber nonsense. But for now, this will just have to do. That's going to wrap up this video. Please make sure if you enjoyed to like and subscribe and hit the little bell so you get notifications for all our videos. We have Modern Toy Fair reviews coming out on Monday and Modern Toy Fair news on Fridays. So please check that out. You also, on Modern Toy Fair news, you'll see my co-host Jamar, who you can catch both of us over at Media Junkie on the Fanboy Fight Club podcast. He also has the Why Are You a Gamer podcast that you can search on any major podcast app. I'm also on the Gimmick Minute Wrestling podcast over at Media Junkie, so please make sure to go check those out as well. As always, check out next week, same toy time, same Toy Fair channel. Thank you.